Evening all, hope you're all keeping fine. I thought I'd do a little video tonight. A little video about Michail Antonio because there's been a couple of times in the past couple of weeks that I've wanted to talk about it, but I've thought, nah, I'll just leave it. And then I watched Gonza's video earlier, which just made me think, actually, I'm going to do it now. I want to talk about this. Before I get into it, this video is sponsored by OneFootball. You've heard Gonzo talking about it. You've seen it on the previews. They're still sponsoring us. The link is in the description. So keep up to date with all your West Ham news and the team news ahead of Saturday's game against Newcastle. Link is in the description. It's completely free. Download it. Get your West Ham notifications on. You're only getting notifications for West Ham. You don't get any other team. Just the teams you follow. Come through to your phone. Very handy app. And it's free. The reason I want to talk about Michail Antonio is because, where shall we start? Well, I'll start with a comment on YouTube. I did a review after the Everton game in Liverpool. I did the review and I said that we were missing Antonio big time. And I'm not calling this person out, but Thunder and Joy left a comment saying, Gio, you say we're missing Antonio so much, but you and a lot of other West Ham fans didn't put him nowhere near our starting 11, putting every man and his dog before him, and stuff like that. Now, he's not completely inaccurate, Thunder and Joy, so it's a valid comment, because when I did my prediction, sort of Pellegrini's 11 prediction video with Charlie on the boats just before the season, I didn't have Antonio in the start 11. And then when I watched Gonza's video earlier and he was saying about how he feels like Pellegrini's almost been forced to play Michail Antonio, I agree with that. Hence why I didn't have him in the predicted 11. So I do think he is being forced to use Antonio, but I do also think we're missing him. But I don't think we should be missing him. Now, this video is not about whether Antonio is a good enough player or anything. It's about the situation we're in right now and why we're missing Antonio more or less. Because the reason we're missing Antonio, it's not because of, well, it is a bit because of Antonio, but it's also, we've got Yarmolenko, 19 million. We've got Pablo Fornals, 25 million. Felipe Anderson, 40 million. We've got Wilshere, Lanzini, both on 100 grand a week. We shouldn't be missing Michail Antonio. We should be surviving without him. He should almost be coming back and struggling to get into the starting 11. If he was back on Saturday, he would go straight into the starting 11 because, are we desperate? I think we are. We are desperate. We're desperate for something. And Antonio has that something about him. But that shouldn't be the case. We should not have to rely on somebody that, how do I put this, has less technical ability, for keeping it basic, has less technical ability than any of the other players I've just mentioned. They're all much more Pellegrini players than what Antonio is, so we shouldn't be missing him. But we are, because the other guys aren't stepping up to the plate as yet, or Pellegrini's tactics aren't getting the best out of him, whichever way you want to look at it. So that's why we're missing him. That's what I meant most. The other reason I think we're missing him, it's because when I was speaking to my friends after the game on Saturday, we were just chatting about the game and stuff, and we were saying about how it started as a debate about Sebastian Haller, about whether he's doing enough work in the box or not. I had said in the review that I felt like we needed a bit more from him on Saturday. Saturday alone, I felt we needed a bit more. And I don't know, a couple of my friends thought, nah, he was doing fine, he just wasn't getting the service. But another one of my friends said, actually, I agree, he needs to be doing runs in the box, he's just quite static. But then it got into the point that actually he's the only one in the box, and the reason he's maybe not doing his runs is because if he runs to the front post, there's no one in the middle. If Haller goes to the front post, the rest of the box is completely empty because no one's occupying that space. And it's right, Anderson, Lanzini, Fornals, they don't want to go in and head it. They don't like heading the ball. On Saturday, they shepherded a clearance at one point. Pablo Fornals literally moved out the way so he didn't have to head the ball, and Declan Rice had to clear up behind him. Yarmolenko is a big guy, Yarmolenko. You'd imagine he'd be quite nifty in there. I think he is okay in the air, but I think he's okay, that is it. So maybe that's one of the reasons why we're not putting so many costs in, and that's where we are missing this guy. Him, Antonio. 2015-16 season is a perfect example. Do you know when you play computer games, FIFA and Pro Evo, there's usually like people call that a sweat goal, isn't there? It's almost like cheating. In PES, you used to go run down a line and put a low cross in, triple tap the cross button, it would always land at your striker's feet. And we were doing that in the last season at the Bowl Inn. It was a bit like a cheat. give it to Payet, dink it to the back post, and Antonio's come running in. And what he's got is raw pace, raw power, and just effort, lots of effort, and that's what we're missing at the minute. And Gonzo said earlier that he felt that Pellegrini was forced to use him, and I completely agree. I think Pellegrini would rather have the players I mentioned, Fornals, Wiltshire and all that, in their team rather than Antonio. But we are missing him because he provides that threat, he provides the goals, which is what we're struggling for. Which is what we're struggling for right now. The other thing in Gonzo's video, someone left him a comment, I think it was James Gunn, forgive me if I've gotten this wrong, but James Gunn had said to him, can you do a video about substitution? Gunn said that he'll leave it for myself. Because last season, this goes back to last season, quite often in a review, I came away from the match thinking Pellegrini's substitutions didn't impact the game, or they did in a negative way, and I often said they were Marmite. I either loved them, which was rare, or I hated them, which is quite often. I used to hate Pellegrini's substitutions. I say hate. I used to not understand them. Didn't feel like they were positively impacting the game. When you do a substitution, that's what you're basically doing. You're trying to change something in the game. Pellegrini rarely does that. How often do you come away from the game thinking Pellegrini's substitutions have got us that point, got us that win or something? I'll tell you when he used to sub this guy on. When Antonio used to come on off the bench, that's when his substitutions used to work. And it wasn't necessarily because of a masterstroke by Pellegrini, it's just because of what he brought onto the football field at the time. Because the thing that frustrates me the most about Pellegrini changes personnel with his substitutions, but he doesn't necessarily change the tactics. Granted, Sheffield United, Everton, he's brought Ayeti on and tried to go two up front and stuff, but it's a bit late in the game he's been doing it. And it's almost, again, it goes back to like almost like a vibe of resistance from Pellegrini on the side, like that's a last resort. And you'd rather not do that, which makes sense because you want your plan A to go out there and get you the win and stuff. But without Antonio on the bench, he used to throw him on and keep this formation the same, but the game would change. Changing that one person would change the game, and he doesn't really have that at the minute. Lanzini, Fornals, Ayeti, Wiltshire, they're coming on and they don't really change the tempo, the mood, the threat. It just sort of replaces what's coming off the pitch. You're just replacing it like for like. But Antonio is a unique player in the Premier League. There's a few in the Premier League, isn't there? You know, Traore of Wolves is a perfect example. He's been getting in the side lately. He's got the pace and the power. He's got Demarai Gray over at Leicester. While he doesn't have the strength, he's got the directness. He runs at defenders, he takes them on, and his final ball, his final product's a little bit rusty, if you like, but he's fearless, and that's what Antonio is. That's what we're missing, and that's what frustrates me about Pellegrini's substitutions. Really, if he doesn't have Antonio, his substitutions are a bit bland, a bit vanilla. He doesn't really have anyone else on that bench which is going to change up, because at the start of the season Antonio was coming on and changing games and he deserved to start games, but Pellegrini almost couldn't start him because he knows that when you start Antonio, your bench is then weaker and he doesn't really have a plan B. Antonio is Pellegrini's plan B. Whether we're winning, put him on and you can counter attack. Whether we're drawing or we're losing, you get Antonio on to try and provide the goals, and it worked. Brighton away was the perfect example. We looked like we're struggling to do anything. Brought Antonio on, and all of a sudden, bang, the pitch was stretched. He stretches the play. We're able to go from defensive third to final third with about 5 strides of the ball when you give it to his feet and stuff. So we are missing Antonio. Okay, we are missing him. Just to go back to Thunder's comment when he said about how a lot of people weren't putting him in our first 11. And I think that's right. I think Thunder's right. But I also think those people not putting him in their first 11 are also correct. Because if the other players that we have signed for 20 million and over were all doing their job, Antonio wouldn't be in the starting 11. But he's in there because those guys aren't producing yet. Pellegrini's not getting the best out of them yet. I'm hoping that's making sense anyway. But he's supposed to be, he's back in training anyway, Antonio. I know that a couple of weeks ago, if you like, he was targeting the Spurs game, which is on the 23rd of November. It's still 3-4 weeks away, so it's still quite a long time. So you never know, he might just make it back after the international break for the Spurs game. He loves playing Spurs, but we're missing him at the minute. But it frustrates me a little bit. And this ties into Diangana. I'm going to go off curve a little bit here. But I'm just going to mention this part because I think it's a topic that's very current. I wouldn't be surprised if Gonzo does a video on this tomorrow, actually. His lunchtime videos on the forum channel. But the Diangana thing, he's on good form at West Brom. So there's some conversation about whether we should recall him in January. And I 100% no on this. Sometimes you can be a bit on the wall, on the fence. We don't really like to do that on this channel. We're quite opinionated in here, and I'm very opinionated when it comes to Diangana being alone. I don't want to see him recalled at all for West Ham. We made a mistake loaning him out. If you go back to the summer videos, or if you've watched this in the summer, you'll know that I did not like the idea of loaning Diangana out because I thought we don't have any more wingers. That is a winger. He's a winger. Anderson's not like an out-and-out winger. Lanzini's not a winger. Fornals is not a winger. Wilshere's not a winger. Antonio and Yarmolenko are, but that's it. So I didn't want to loan out Diangana. But also, I liked what I seen of him last season. I liked what I seen. He's a young lad, and he was a bit, I don't know how to word it, not great in games. Sometimes he was frustrating. Sometimes he was a bit quiet. He wasn't getting on the ball very much. But do you know something? I've seen plenty of games where Lanzini, Fornals and Anderson aren't getting on the ball and stuff, and they're all more experienced, paid a lot more, worth a lot more. And this guy's raw and learning. But when he first broke into the team at West Ham, he was fearless. And that's something that these guys don't have, especially right now. They're not fearless. They're hiding. Diangana kept going at fullback. So if it didn't work the first time, he did it again. Right, but now he's on form at West Brom. Okay, so we've made a mistake loaning him out, in my opinion. Let's not make another one by bringing him back, because at West Brom he's getting loads of game time. He's turning out to be one of the main players at West Brom, and they're fighting for promotion. They're looking like they're going to be in a title challenge, actually. So the feel-good factor at West Brom must be pretty high. He's playing under a good manager, okay? Now, a lot of people watch this and think, no, Bilic is not a good manager. Bilic is a good manager. He's an attacking manager. He suits the way Diangana plays. We all know. Remember Slav Upton Park? The last season Upton Park? Because that's what West Brom are playing like right now. He likes attacking midfielders. He likes attacking wingers out wide. And Diangana fits that. He's playing really well, getting loads of minutes. If we were to recall him today, he would be on the bench at most on Saturday afternoon against Newcastle. We won't give him game time. Not enough, especially because Antonio's back soon anyway, so there's someone else above him in the pecking order. And even if we do, we don't know he will play well. Just leave him in the Championship. We are not missing Grady and Diangana. We're not missing him. We're missing Lanzini. We're missing Anderson being consistent. We're missing Fornals settling in. That's what we're missing. We're not missing Grady and Diangana. If these guys start performing, we won't miss Diangana. We'll leave him at West Brom happily. We won't even be missing Antonio. But we are. Because those guys are not performing. There's a correlation between what we've got on the pitch at the minute and what we don't have on the pitch. And we're screaming for these guys that we don't have. But it's because of these ones here. It's because of this lot. And if this lot start producing on Saturday, we beat Newcastle. Anderson, Lanzini, Fornals, Yarmolenko. 3 of the 4 play really well. We won't be sitting here going, maybe we should get Diangana back. The conversation only comes up when we don't win a game. When we have lack of options. We don't have lack of options. They're just being used wrong. There's not the lack of the options just aren't performing correctly at the minute. That's all. It is making us miss something. And it's not Diangana. What we're missing, we have in the team. And it's up to Pellegrini and those players to start performing. So we don't want Diangana. Leave him at West Brom. Leave him at West Brom. Get Antonio back in the team. He'll be back soon. And anyway, that's it for me. Hopefully all that makes sense a little bit. We shouldn't be missing Antonio, but we are. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. And myself and Gonzo, we're back tomorrow night actually. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, we're trying something new. We're trying something different. It's a completely different series. So come along. I don't know what time it'll be. It'll be about 8, half 8ish. So come and join us, and we'll explain a bit more then, because it's a pilot show. It might not work. It might be a disaster, but we're going to give it a bash, and we hope it works. We've also ordered the defibrillator machine for the boats. It will be on the boats for Saturday. So the Newcastle game, the defibrillator machine will be on the boats. So thank you to everybody that has donated. The boats are free on Saturday. Instead of an entry fee, there is donation buckets at the gate, which is basically going to Hamish Chat causes. Myself and Gonzo don't know. We haven't decided how to distribute the funds yet, but we will come up with if we see anything or we come up with an idea, we'll let you know and keep you informed as to where the money's going. But basically, Hamish Chat are nearly 5. The 11th of November is our 5th anniversary. So at the Newcastle game, we're having a little bit of a piss up. So it's free to come down. So if you've ever watched a video, you're watching this one, obviously, feel free to join us, because we'd like to say thank you. Now, we're not going to be able to go around everyone on the boats and say thank you, but hopefully you can come down, have a drink with us, have a sing-song with us. Gonzo's going dressed as a Peaky Blinder, or a Mexican porn star, depends what you think he looks like, but I'm starting to think he looks more like the Mexican porn star. So yeah, Mexican porn star, beer, barbecue, Saturday. See you then. I've been Gio, this has been Hamish Chat. Catch you in a bit.